Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. It's been a steady session on Dalal Street. The Sensex and the Nifty regained some lost ground, but the gains are limited. The Nifty back above 23,700. Mid-caps outperformed. The rupee recouped some losses. The US dollar is under pressure, even as the US President-elect Donald Trump denies reports that he will water down the proposed tariff plan. Crude oil prices continue to hover around two-month highs. Heavy Industry Ministry backs the auto industry's demand for a GST cut on CNG two-wheelers, writes to the Finance Ministry requesting the tax rate cut from 28 to 18%. The Road Transport, Environment and Petroleum Ministry support the proposal. Berger Paints actively looking at acquiring Akzo Nobel's India stake. Sources say promoters are looking at exiting the Indian market by selling their 74% stake. JSW and Indigo Paints also in the race. That's an exclusive. Delhi will vote on the 5th of February in what will be the first assembly elections of 2025. Counting of votes will take place on the 8th of February. A fierce three-way battle between AAP, BJP and the Congress beckons. At least 95 people dead after a powerful 7.1 magnitude earthquake jolts a mountainous region of Tibet. The quake shook buildings in Nepal, Bhutan and parts of India. Justin Trudeau will step down as the Prime Minister of Canada after nearly a decade in power. Incoming US President Donald Trump, who has openly ridiculed Trudeau in the past, quips that Canada should merge with the US. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer condemns Elon Musk for lies and misinformation over child sexual abuse cases in the UK. Musk had used inflammatory language and made unsubstantiated claims against the Prime Minister, inviting widespread condemnation. Well, let's start with the market action of the day. It's a steady session on Dalal Street. After yesterday's sell-off, the Sensex gained over 230 points and the Nifty back above 23,700. So 91 points higher on the Nifty. The Sensex 234 points higher. The mid-cap index outperforming, up by 500 points. And the Nifty Bank also higher by about 0.5%. So that was the market action for you. In the money market, the rupee also managed to recoup some losses against the dollar. The dollar index has given up some gains after reports indicated that US President-elect Donald Trump will be slower on his proposed tariff increases. But Trump has since denied the reports and said the proposed tariff plan will not be watered down. That's the dollar rupee for you, 85.71. Well, here's a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Berger Paints is actively looking to buy Akzo Nobel's India stake. Sources say the promoters of the Dutch paint giant are looking to exit the Indian market with the sale of their 74.6% stake. Rachna is here with more. Rachna, who are in the fray?
The battle for Akzo Nobel's India stake is heating up. Berger Paints is likely to join the race to acquire Akzo Nobel's 74.6% stake as the global parent explores an exit from the Indian market. Sources have told CNBC-TV18 that the competition is between Berger, JSW and Indigo Paints, and the value of this deal is expected to be in the range of 10,000 to 12,000 crore rupees. Now, Akzo Nobel's India market cap currently stands at around 16,000 crore rupees, while its revenue for the September quarter was reported at 982 crore rupees. Let's compare that to Berger Paints' performance, where the revenue was at 2,775 crore rupees in the same period. As the contours of the deal, whether cash or a hybrid structure, continue to take shape, CNBC-TV18 is awaiting official responses from Akzo Nobel, Berger Paints and other companies involved. But we had the Berger management on the channel on November 6th, where they had said that though they usually look at smaller acquisitions, there is an interest in Akzo Nobel's India stake, and now we have it from our sources that the bids are being submitted for this acquisition. Back to you.
All right, Rachna, many thanks for joining us. It is the big day where we've seen the FY25 GDP estimate, the first advanced estimate coming in. Real GDP growth seen at 6.4% versus the CNBC-TV18 poll of 6.3%. And real GDP growth is seen at 6.4% versus 8.2% year on year. Remember, the RBI estimate is of 6.6%. Let's go across now to Lata. She's standing by to take us through the first advanced estimate that's come in. Lata.
Well, the first advanced estimates are indicating that the GDP is going to grow at 6.4%. Now, we already know that the first half, we grew by 5.4 plus 6.7, an average of 6%. So now, the asking rate, according to the MOSPI, in the third and the fourth quarter, we have to grow at 6.7%. Only then we get to a 6.4. So that's the first derivative from what the MOSPI is telling us, 6.4 for the full year, short of the Reserve Bank's forecast of 6.6. That's anyway revised. Originally, they stood at 7.2. But at 6.6, 6.4% full year, we will deliver 6.7 in the third quarter and in the current quarter, that is the fourth quarter. We will have to see if that comes good, because 6.7 we will know only on February 28th when the third quarter numbers come. The second point that we can derive is the nominal GDP. The nominal GDP has come in at 9.7% according to the first estimates. Now, if I take you back to the budget of February 1st, 2024, they had assumed a GDP growth of 10.5%, which will take the nominal GDP to 326.37, which is what the budget told us in the budget at a glance papers. But if you take only 9.7, not 10.5, then the overall GDP comes to 323.9, approximately 323.9 lakh crore or 323.9 trillion. So this year, 4.9% fiscal deficit of 323.9 trillion will mean that the fiscal deficit will have to be brought down to 15.8 lakh crore. The budget had said it would be 16.1 because they assumed a larger GDP. So the government will have to spend about 30,000 crore less to come to that 15.8 if they want to adhere to the fiscal deficit. Not a big ask. I mean, what is 30,000 crores? It is small change. So those are the two initial points that I'm giving you, that the second half we will grow at 6.7% according to the MOSPI, and the other point that the nominal GDP is going to be 9.7%, which means the fiscal deficit will have to be a little lower. The other points that we are getting in terms of where will be the components of growth. Agriculture is growing at 3.8% according to the MOSPI, much better than the 1.4% it grew last year. That's because we've had a very good harvest, Kharif, and expected Rabi harvest as well. Manufacturing sector is growing to grow at 5.3, far lower than the 9.9% that we achieved in FY24. Construction is going to be good, 8.6%, not as good as the near 10% we achieved last year, but at 8.6%, we will take it with both hands. The services sector grows at 7.2 compared to 7.6. See, overall GDP is lower. GDP last year was 8.2%, and this year it is forecast to be only 6.4. So across the board, everything is going to be lower, but the point is 6.4 is at least better than the 5.4 shocker we got in the second quarter. The GDP, if it does come at 6.4, will be the lowest in 4 years, lowest since the COVID year, when it was, of course, negative, I think 5% or thereabouts. It's clearly the lowest since the COVID year. Those are the initial impressions, Shireen. I'll come back with more in terms of consumption growth and capital formation growth. Those are the more important numbers. I just have to work the calculation.
Well, we will let you do that, Lata, but many thanks for joining us with a quick snapshot of what the headline numbers look like. This is the first advance estimate coming in from the government on growth. And of course, we will detail the internals and take you through what the implications are likely to be. Remember, we do have an MPC coming up. So whether that is going to mean that there will be a further impetus to cut rates on the MPC, all of that will be issues that we take up. But with less than a month to go for the union budget, sources have told CNBC-TV18 that the budget is likely to focus on the depreciating rupee and supply-side risks from spreading geopolitical tensions. Timsy standing by with more. Timsy, what are you hearing?
As the stage is set for Finance Minister to announce the second full budget of the third tenure of the NDA government, sources have told CNBC-TV18 that the budget is likely to include policy measures to address challenges that are beyond India's control. The budget is likely to focus on depreciating rupee, supply-side risks from spreading geopolitical tensions. It is also likely to address the continuing impact of high inflation and talk about volatile commodity prices. Sources added that the upcoming budget may hold measures like direct benefit transfers, tax breaks to add to common man's disposable income, and it may also contain some new measures aimed at tackling the temporary drop in consumption. to boost the sentiments of the people and of the economy. Sources who are in the know of the development also shared that the budget is likely to take forward the government's focus on job creation with measures to boost jobs both in rural and semi-urban areas. There could be more measures to enhance government's thrust on incentivizing job creation in both skilled and unskilled sectors. Sources also revealed that the government may consider reworking duties on several items such as gold that add to the trade deficit burden. And last but not the least, the government is considering some protectionist measures to aid domestic industry, especially which will boost the manufacturing sector, which could also feature in the budget. To be seen now is how the government is able to balance all of these in the upcoming budget. Back to you.
All right, Timsy, many thanks for joining us. So those could potentially be areas that the budget focuses on. Now, the countdown to the budget is on, as we just told you, and India is looking to seize the moment and establish itself as a global economic outlier. The upcoming budget, which will be the NDA government's first full budget after the election victory. Tell us what you want from Budget 2025 by submitting your wish list to the CNBC-TV18 budget ballot at hotspots near you and on CNBC-TV18.com. This is your budget headquarters as always. Join us on Budget Day for the biggest newsmakers and unparalleled insights. And speaking of the budget, the Ministry of Heavy Industries has written to the Finance Ministry supporting the auto industry's demand for a reduction in GST on CNG two-wheelers. The proposal has also been supported by the Road Transport, Environment and Petroleum Ministries. Parikshit is standing by with more. Parikshit, so the demand for a GST reduction likely to be taken forward?
This is a significant development for the auto industry. Last year, two-wheeler makers and the auto industry body SIAM had reached out to the Ministry of Heavy Industries urging it to consider a GST reduction on CNG two-wheelers. Now, as we know, the GST rate on conventional petrol two-wheelers is 28%, on CNG two-wheelers is also 28%, and on electric two-wheelers is 5%. The industry plea was that considering CNG is a clean fuel, which also helps us meet our climate goals, we must consider reducing the GST on CNG two-wheelers from 28% to 18%. This will also increase the penetration of two-wheelers in the country, adoption in the e-commerce segment. And the reason why we also need a lower rate of taxation for such green fuels is because the tax rate on two-wheelers is much higher in India compared to other Southeast Asian countries such as Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam, and also Latin American countries like Brazil for that matter. And therefore, India must consider an 18% GST rate for CNG two-wheelers as well. Now, for the last few months, the Ministry of Heavy Industries had been thinking about the move. It had also sought responses from the Ministry of Petroleum, Ministry of Environment and Forest, Ministry of Road Transport, and the Automotive Research Association of India. Now, all these bodies have come out in favor of a GST reduction on CNG two-wheelers from 28 to 18% because they feel that this is a move that could help the climate, the environment, and also increase the sales of two-wheelers in the country. The Ministry of Heavy Industries has now sent a letter to the Revenue Department of the Finance Ministry urging it to consider reducing the GST on CNG two-wheelers. While this is a welcome step and the government is sympathetic, the final decision will have to be taken by the GST Council. So we'll have to see if the GST Council takes up the matter in its next meeting and whether there can be consensus on this as well.
Parikshit, many thanks. Maharashtra Natural Gas will list with an initial public offer of 1,000 crore rupees. MNGL is a joint venture between Bharat Petroleum Corporation, GAIL and Indraprastha Gas. The oil marketing company said that BPCL's board has given its in-principle nod for the issue. The big national story, the Election Commission has sounded the poll bugle for Delhi, and a fierce three-way battle between AAP, BJP and the Congress beckons. All 70 assembly constituencies will vote in a single-phase election on the 5th of February. Counting will take place on the 8th of February. Announcing the election dates, the Chief Election Commissioner, Rajiv Kumar, rejected allegations made by AAP and BJP on the voter rolls. He also asserted that electronic voting machines are safe and called the allegations of tampering baseless.
There is no question of introducing virus or bug in the EVM. There is no question of invalid votes in the EVM. No rigging is possible. High Court and Supreme Court is saying continuously in different judgments which are here. No alteration in results is possible by activating a Trojan horse or a virus. Evidence inspires confidence of the court that they are tamper-proof. What else can be said? EVMs are foolproof devices for counting. Allegations of tampering are baseless. We are not saying.
Well, that's the Chief Election Commissioner. That is the election date for Delhi. Now, this will be the last elections under the Chief Election Commissioner, Rajiv Kumar. When asked about his retirement plans, he said he will take 3 to 4 months to detoxify himself and go to the Himalayas and meditate.
पिछले 12, 13, 14 साल से बहुत ही इंटेंस इम्पैक्टफुल प्लेसेस में काम करता रहा हूँ. मुझे कुछ समय नहीं मिला. I'll detoxify myself for 4-5 months, go to deep Himalayas, or be away from the glare of all of you and the public. बहुत इतना संभालने के बाद I need to have some एकांत, some स्वाध्याय or some meditation, which I'll do, and thereafter 4-5 months I'll devote myself fully to the charity.
Time to detoxify for the next 3-4 months post his tenure as the Chief Election Commissioner. We will head into a break, but up next, Justin Trudeau will step down as the Prime Minister of Canada after nearly a decade in power. Says he's not the best option to lead the Liberal Party into the next elections. That and more when we return. Well, the big global story, at least 95 people have died and 130 injured after multiple earthquakes rocked Tibet today. The first quake struck just after 9 a.m. local time. The strongest quake measured 7.1 on the Richter scale. Multiple aftershocks were also reported. Chinese President Xi Jinping said nearly 1,500 firefighters and rescue workers have been deployed for search operations. China has also sent relief material to the quake-hit region. Tremors from Tibet shook buildings in Nepal, forcing people to run to the streets. Eyewitnesses said trees and electric wires on the streets shaking for a while. Nepali officials have mobilized police, security forces and local authorities to collect information. The tremors were also felt in Bihar, Delhi, NCR and several areas in North India. People in Bihar were seen rushing outside their homes. However, no damage to property has been reported. Israeli forces have allegedly killed at least 6 Palestinians, including a child, after attacking a residential building in Gaza. This has taken the total death toll to at least 28 people in the last 24 hours. The UN relief agency head has said that efforts to save the lives of survivors in Gaza is at break point. This after Israeli military continues to attack aid workers in the enclave. Forces have also launched a manhunt in West Bank after assailants killed 3 Israelis near an illegal settlement in the region. Russia has claimed that its forces have captured a frontline town in eastern Ukraine's Donetsk region. The town has borne the brunt of Russian advances in recent months. Ukraine has not acknowledged the town's capture. Meanwhile, fierce fighting continues in Russia's Kursk region in the recent days after Ukraine launched a counter-attack on Sunday. Justin Trudeau has announced that he will step down as the Prime Minister of Canada after nearly a decade in power. Trudeau has also resigned as the leader of the Liberal Party of Canada. The move comes amidst rising dissent against him within his own party. Meanwhile, incoming US President Donald Trump, who has criticized Trudeau in the past, quipped that Canada should merge with the US. Here's a report.
After nearly a decade as Canada's Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau on Monday said he would be stepping down.
I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader.
Trudeau was facing mounting pressure, including from Liberal legislators, to quit amid polls showing the party will be crushed in the next election. Trudeau also said Parliament would be suspended until March 24th. The 53-year-old Trudeau took office in November 2015 and won re-election twice, making him one of Canada's longest-serving prime ministers. But he saw his popularity dip 2 years ago as public anger over high prices and a housing shortage grew. His fortunes never recovered. The next election must be held by late October, regardless of who the leader is.
This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election.
Parliament was due to return this month, and opposition parties had vowed to bring down the government as soon as they could. If Parliament does not return until March 24th, the earliest they could present a non-confidence motion would be May. Until recently, Trudeau had been able to fend off Liberal legislators worried about the polls and the loss of safe seats in 2 special elections. That changed after he tried to demote one of his closest cabinet allies, Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland, after she pushed back against his proposals for more spending. Trudeau on Monday called Freeland an incredible political partner.
I had really hoped that she would agree to continue as my Deputy Prime Minister and take on one of the most important files that not just this government but this country is facing. But she chose otherwise.
Freeland quit and penned a letter accusing Trudeau of political gimmicks, rather than focusing on what was best for the country. Polls show the Liberals will badly lose to the official opposition Conservatives, led by Pierre Poilievre, in the next election.
Well, that is the rise and fall of Justin Trudeau in Canada. The U.S. Congress has certified Donald Trump's presidential election victory last evening, days ahead of the inauguration. Outgoing Vice President Kamala Harris, who lost to Trump in the race to the White House, presided over the ritual in a joint seating of the Congress. The certification of formality clears the path for Donald Trump to be sworn in on the 20th of January. Interestingly, Trump's victory certification takes place 4 years to the day when he incited supporters to storm the U.S. Capitol to disrupt the ceremony that was scheduled to formalize Biden's election victory. Trump, after losing to Biden in the 2020 polls, had alleged that the election was rigged. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has condemned Elon Musk's remarks on child sexual abuse cases in the UK with a flurry of posts on his social media platform X. Musk accused Starmer and senior politicians of a cover-up. In cases that date back to before 2010, an estimated 1,400 girls were exploited in the northern town of Rotherham by what is referred to as grooming gangs made up largely of British Pakistani men. Similar gangs were also found to be operating in other towns and cities in England. Elon Musk made a number of unsubstantiated claims about Starmer being complicit in protecting these gangs and even said the Prime Minister should go to prison. Responding to the charges, Starmer said Musk is spreading lies and he's not interested in ensuring justice for the victims.
On the question of Elon Musk, look, I think most people are more interested in what's going to happen to the NHS, frankly, than what's happening on Twitter. Those that are spreading lies and misinformation as far and as wide as possible, they're not interested in victims. They're interested in themselves. Those who are cheerleading Tommy Robinson, not interested in justice. They're supporting a man who went to prison for nearly collapsing a grooming case, a gang grooming case.
Well, that's Keir Starmer versus Elon Musk in the UK. And before we wrap, here's the growth code for this week, a collaborative initiative by Grow and CNBC-TV18. Our mission is to equip you with valuable insights and strategies to navigate the markets and make informed investment decisions. Today, we help you understand how scammers exploit the fear of missing out in F&O markets and the red flags to watch out for.
In futures and options trading, scammers prey on fear of missing out or FOMO, creating a false sense of urgency that pushes traders into reckless decisions. The promise of can't miss opportunities, pitch exclusive tips and flood social media with fake testimonials, making traders feel that they will be left behind if they don't act immediately. With the lure of high leverage, where tiny price shifts can lead to massive gains or devastating losses, they exploit the impulse to jump in fast. Scammers tout guaranteed profits or subtly imply that everyone else is winning, fueling the panic and pressure to follow suit. But the moment you enter the trade, they will pull out, triggering the price crash that leaves you holding the bag and the losses. To protect yourself, never fall for high-pressure tactics.